Hey everybody, and welcome to my new segment on my channel, Manga of the Week. Kind of a new, kind of a reborn segment. Back in 2013, 2012, what I would do is I took my favorite mangas at the time, which were Naruto, One Piece, Toriko, and I can't remember if there was a fourth one above that, but I would review them in like a mini review for them, but more of like a rating because I like to just see which one I liked best out of the week. I thought it'd be cool to share it. So this one time, I've got like better equipment, better setup, and more of like a love and deep feel for my series as I read them. So I'm be trying a test video now with just like three other series, as you can see from the title, and then we'll probably expand from there depending how it goes or how much I like it. But mainly, I want to just find new people who also like the same things I do, but have different opinions or similar opinions that we can just discuss and just have fun with. So, welcome to Manga of the Week number 1. Hope you have a blessed Monday, as the manga chapters came out yesterday. So, I am a Shonen Jump follower. Just jumped on the Viz Media train last month or a couple weeks ago. So it's only $2 a month on the Viz Media website. Go on there, support that $2 a month because you're supporting all the writers for the Shonen Jump and Viz Media manga. Anyway, moving past all that, welcome. My name is Monkey D. Caleb. Please like and subscribe. So, the first one we have here for which ones, or the mangas that I do review or read right now as in this video, are going to be One Piece, Dr. Stone, and My Hero Academia. So these are the three. So I was gonna do Black Clover, but we'll see how that kind of goes. I am caught on Black Clover, but with the way the anime is working, I might just stop reading Black Clover entirely and just start being an anime only person of Black Clover. But anyway, so the first one we have here is Odin versus Kaido. So this chapter was actually really, really good. Oh no. Okay, as I was saying, I did not like the picture that was used for that, so sorry about that. So I did not know it was cut off. The One Piece is cut off. I don't like that with the full thing. So we have Odin versus Kaido, One Piece chapter 970. So this was really like a nice chapter. So it started off with the little front panel we're getting with Bage's family and what's going on. So Bage and Vito were immobilized as there's the kissing disease going around Andressrosa right now. So I liked this chapter a lot. You know, as you go through it, we get Odin with his scabbards going to take on Kaido. And then the crazy part is you find out that Kaido just openly admits, yeah, you have a spy among you. And there is a spy that told me exactly where you guys are coming from. And it was like, okay, well, I mean, we knew there was a spy, but okay, now, like there was a spy then, and then there's a spy now in the current time. So it's like, who is it? And then there's a spy among the scabbards, and it's kind of like that's kind of crazy, or it's just some side character we don't know about. So, again, I'm not for full reviews. Just kind of like a little follow up as far as what they did, though. I like the dynamic they did during this entire section, though, with Kaido's team, or sorry, Odin and the Scabbards versus Kaido and his Beast Pirates, and just the way they did the fight and took him down, the way Oda drew everything just looks amazing as for the fighting and what is going on. You know, you had the part with Otoki having to decide what they were going to do when she was talking about Lord Yasui, and then we got Shinobu coming out to Odin, letting her know that, hey, I've been a follower of you. You may not remember me, but Odin's like, yeah, no, I do remember you. And then we get the amazing Odin two-sword style Paradise Totsuka, which cuts Kaido and gives him the legendary scar on his body, which I wrongly assumed before my reviews. I always thought it was Shanks who gave him the scar and stopped him from coming to the war when Ace was going to die when it became the Marineford. But no, it was Odin. He did it himself, which was really cool. Like we knew the scar was coming. If you've been following the chapters, you knew who did the scar, and it was originally Odin. So that was really cool for the whole thing. And then, unfortunately, though, we have the old lady transforming herself into Momonosuke to make Odin hesitate. Kaido gets to sneak on Odin, and then he is defeated by Kaido. So from then on, the chapter just kind of ends with the down result that we know is that Odin was going to die. As far as his execution was, the 10 wicked samurai are sentenced to be boiled to death. So that was just kind of like the disappointer there. But it was a solid chapter. It was a nice little one. I didn't like the fact that the fights was wrapped up a little too quick. I thought that'd be like, in the manga they said it was long, and the anime will definitely do its part on extending that scene. But as far as reading it goes, I would have liked at least one or two more chapters. But I also get the fact that Oda needs to continue on the series, as he's already stated in the article before. He's already worried if he did too much of the background, he would actually accidentally reveal the One Piece. But then, we are also reaching kind of the climax beginning area for One Piece. We still have a long way to go and a lot of questions unanswered. But besides that, we're going to get the answers we need. And Oda, I feel like he just had to rush the Oden part to just go start doing other things. So this flashback has been going on for a while now, and I need to see Luffy Senpai. So yeah, that one, I do wish a bit more from this chapter, but hey, it was nice and it was cool to read. So okay, and next then we have here is Doctor Stone, chapter 137, The Last Man Standing. So if you've been following it, right now it's Senku and his crew versus Ibara right now. We found out of the petrification device, and it's can I just say, so I started watching Doctor Stone, right? I think I started watching around the 4 episodes or whatever after, yeah, it's right after Senku was dead from Tsukasa. And from there, I have just been in love with this series. Like, I'm not a huge science person, okay? I like things that we have in science. I believe that God gave us science, all the things like that. And science is amazing. We have so many wonders in this world because of it. But just the way the writer did it for Dr. Stone and just how it expands the world of science and just the world in general, and like being able to take from the Stone Age and try to just jumpstart to the revolutions we have now. It's such a great concept, and it's just been such a wild ride. And when I started reading the manga, I kid you not, I started reading it, I think, like a beginning of a week, starting from the beginning. And I think by like that Wednesday or that Friday, I made sure I was caught up because it was just such a wild ride and so great. But continuing with this chapter right now, we're taking on Ibara. He says a petrification device. And so it started off with like the continuation of it where they, why do I not remember his name of all times? It's the guy who's greedyful and selfish. When it's up to Senku and them to be the last ones to use the drone to take back the petrification device. And so we continued from that way to the very end where it's a tug of war at the beginning. They're both fighting for it. And Ibarra is thinking that it's a constant of strength, but they're like, no, not really. And they had their own saying of the petrification device. But even then, when they tried to say it and they tried to trick Ibarra into taking it back to him, he still blocked it and defeated them. And you're like, that's crazy. But then it still went off at a certain distance. And so what happens was, and I'm upset, I forget his name, but the guy that's greedy, he went and placed, he goes towards the petrification device before he gets petrified, and he shatters. And Senku acts like he's worried. But then in the next scene, what you see is just so cool. You see the communicated earring that was placed on Kohaku, and how she was using to communicate with Senku and the rest of the team. And he had placed that on the petrification device while being petrified. So to do that at the very end was such a huge plot twist, because then all Senku had to do was speak 5 meters, 1 second, into the petrification device, and there it was. It petrified everything. Well, not everything, but Ibarra, who was currently holding it at the time towards the very end. So, at the end, too, Senku, he gets a petrification device. It says petrification device acquired. And he's thinking this time, I'm alone again, because everyone on the island's been petrified. I'm the only one who hasn't been petrified. But then, Riku, why am I forgetting people's names? I just read this all. Oh, whatever. The villagers do speak through the mic to Senku and go, "Are you faring well, Senku?" And he's like, "No, this time I'm not alone." So to me, that was very heartfelt, because like Senku, he felt like he kind of felt a little bit sad because he had to feel like he sacrificed all his friends to get the victory. They all had to be petrified, and he had to use basically almost the last of his petrification liquid. the nitric acid and a couple other components, where he wouldn't be able to save him as quickly. He is taking a bit of time with it, and he thought, well, dang, I'm alone. They're all petrified. But at the end, he gets that revelation that he's not alone, and he doesn't have to start over completely from scratch. He can start bringing people back to life a lot earlier than what he thought. So, a great climax to this arc. Just the feeling for it, and like just the main buildup that was for it. And on the edge of your chair, each chapter is drawn so magnificently, and it's put with a lot of effort. And it also is starting to have that climax feel, but not really. But if you know Dr. Stone, the premise is that the entire world one day was turned to stone, and then 3,700 years had passed, and after that time, or no, they're in the year 3,700, right? Wow, I might have to do a mini recap myself, but they're in that time frame, and now in the future, though, everyone's turned to stone. It's a primitive world. Things are destroyed. Senku was the first one to come back to life, which we still don't know how. He was the first one to be unpetrified, and now he's been trying to just find out what the petrification was and how to restore humanity. And right now, the main part we reached this latest chapter was that he was able to find the petrification device. So now we're on our way. We're at the stepping stone. We need to figure out what the main device was and who the main person is behind this. So it's a great manga series. I definitely recommend reading it and checking it out. Again, that was Dr. Stone, chapter 137. So, all right. And then lastly, we have here My Hero Academia, chapter 259, A Quiet Beginning. If you've been following with this has reached a major point in the series now. Like, even though it was slow, the most recent arc, which was the League of Villains versus the Liberation Army, it started off so slow, and I was bored. Like, I even dropped the manga for a bit. I was just like, I'll just catch up on it and read it a little bit later. So I think I let like 3 or 4 chapters build, decided to read all those, and it just was like, pfft, okay, we got like a huge launch. So clearly they use manga chapters way more than they use. I'm sorry, in the anime they use manga chapters way more than obviously the content we get in a manga chapter, because an episode you have to expand that even more. And when that comes to be for this army fight versus Shigaraki fight, it's gonna be short. Right now we're in season 4, and the overhaul arc is kind of short, and then we're kind of getting the Majestic and Eri arc, and that's gonna be a little bit short too, because it's only gonna be 24 episodes, and the first 12 covered overhaul. The next 12 are gonna cover everything else, which is crazy. But it's gonna go fast with the Liberation Army being involved in that. But it's a great series. I also recommend reading this too, or at least watching it, just keeping up with it. But manga chapter continuing on. So it kind of starts off with the evil professor, who is Maruta Shiga. He is the one who originally told Deku he does not have a quirk. He is also the one that is basically the right-hand man to One for All. So, I don't like that that's a problem that we have still with him, is that the doctor was there. But what you find out is the heroes are ready to actually take him down. They've been keeping monitoring eyes on him, and they noticed that he had a mini Nomu. So since they know that, and they're able to place things together, plus the information they're receiving from Hawks, from the Liberation Army, has been a big help to their cause and goal. They have been able to stop him at this point, to where now all the heroes are converging into one spot, and instead of the League of Villains getting the jump on them, or the Liberation Army getting a jump on them, they're going to get a jump on everybody else that's in the way. And it's really cool, because you get this really sick panel of all the heroes that we know, the main heroes we know of. Obviously you get some obscure heroes in the background who you don't really might know. There's a guy that's made out of chainsaws. He looks like if you had to imagine Ash from Evil Dead, both his hands are chainsaws and his head's a chainsaw. So, but you got Gang Orca, you got Midnight, you got Mount Lady, we get Sun Eater, we get Fat Gum. It's a pretty cool front panel of who we get on the front. So, and then we go over to Kaminari, because they're talking about reading the front lines. There's Kaminari and there's Tokoyami, And they're in the front line with the main heroes, and they're like, "Why am I in the front lines?" Kaminari screams out, he's like, "Class A, I miss you." And then we get like this really cool shot of half a Class A and half a Class B. And we just had the recent arc with them having an exercise against each other after they've improved. So it's really cool knowing how much stronger and how much better they've all gotten. Um, Basically, this is it. This is where the heroes now get to make their jump first on the League of Villains. And what's really cool about this too is like you get Endeavor talking to Suatsuchi. I think I might mess his name up or so. It's the cop that usually talks with All Might. Um, and so he's like talking to him. He's like, "Hey, where's you know who?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know who you're referring to, but that person is also kind of can't be contacted." And so you can tell it's Hawks, and that Endeavor really cares about Hawks and just want to make sure he's safe, just because he is right now hitting in disguise with the League of Villains and the Liberation Army. So, but then like as soon as it starts, it's crazy because one of the heroes that mainly comes through. Um, so we go over to is one of the Liberation crazy guys. I forget if we got his name or not, but he's kind of dressed like a superhero. But what you get is like the people are like, "Well, there are no heroes around. What's going on?" And it's so crazy because the previous chapters made you seem like all the heroes suddenly disappeared. You're like, "What happened? Why did they disappear?" And it's to make this convergence of working together to take down the Liberation Front. So once it starts off with one of the Liberation Army people getting captured. He's kind of completely caught off guard too because he's like, "Whoa, what's going on? Why are the people here?" And then the heroes start moving in. They moving in to protect make sure to get the civilians out of the way, and they're like, "It's time. We got to go in there." And it's so cool because Endeavor is leading the front. And the next panel, like if you had music plays with this, you can kind of feel it. Like Endeavor is pissed. Like he's always been really crazy. Like he's a little mental, but he's starting to work better now thanks to the whole he wants Todoroki in his life thing. But since then he's had a new change to him of how he wants to represent himself as a hero. But you could just feel like a little bit that evil, that glare. And as soon as he walks in the hospital and he finds the doctor, he's like the man behind Nomu and All for One's right hand. The devil's minion, huh? You're finished. And the guy starts screaming. Now, I don't know if this is going to go as well as we think from how it's playing out. Because the doctor's talking about Tomoro Shigaraki should be ready in just over a month. And as we know, it was going to take him about, I think it's 3 or 4 months till he was supposed to go through his modification and change completely. And the thing is, like, normally it's like, oh, the doctor, if he spoke it out loud, he's like, he says that just to throw off the readers, but he's saying it in his head. So there's something significant there. Like, is Shigaraki just going to be that guy, that villain, who bolsters past the usual progression where he's like, you say it'll take me 4 months, it'll take me 2 months to actually do that. I don't know. But one thing's for sure is with the doctor here, it's not going to go as easy as them capturing him. He's going to get away, and the villains are going to somehow intercept it. He could have the whole hospital be his for all we know. I mean, we know there's a mini Noma, we know things are hiding, but all the people in the hospital could be for the Liberation Army, could be the League of Villains. They could not even know that themselves. So Hawks is under surveillance, so he can only provide so much information that wouldn't get him completely exposed. So that has to do with that. So, because I don't know what to really much more to say from this, so I'm kind of nervous because it's been a while since I did this. I know I want to have like a good opinion, and I don't want to be too like loose with characters' names, especially if I'm doing a solo project like this. So I'll try to work better on that, on remembering people's names and just getting in there. There's just a lot of names, a variety of them, especially when it comes to One Piece. But can't complain about something if I'm going to be the one to do it, right? But out of the manga chapters that came out, I actually want to rank it to where I think Dr. Stone was my favorite one this week. Just because the development of what the series led to, and then it's the climax of an arc, and the way it was like kind of brought up to from the struggling battle, from everything the writer has done and planned from beginning to end, it's just been demonstrated really great. And again, with it coming to the climax of the arc, I felt like it was a good finisher. Second, I'd say is My Hero Academia, just because even though it was a great chapter and a great writing and things that happened, it was still kind of confusing that we kind of got here. Like, they already knew about the Liberation Army's plans, they knew about the League of Villains, and we didn't know that. Like, we didn't get, like, talked to about it. Like, when it came to Night Eye knowing about Overhaul and talking about him, like, this was kept super under wraps to the point where there's like that's what's going on or whatever. This you were here in the manga, now you're here in the manga, and it's kind of like I don't like that too much. But also it made for a good start. Like again, if you're paying attention, you'll know why this is all going down. So I guess you don't really need the explanation, but to me, I feel like there should have been more explanation on that. And then lastly, One Piece being the final one. Just because again, I kind of stated my reasons why is I wanted the fight to go on a bit longer. I was a little disappointed by how everything went out with the fight between Odin and Kaido, and ultimately we know that Odin does get eaten by Kaido, but because he's boiled by water, he's it's dumb because we know that next part is gonna be his wife is gonna send the current scabbards and Momonosuke to the past, and they're gonna end up in Luffy's time 20 years, or sorry, in the future. Sorry, they're going to end up 20 years in the future from then. So, it'll be cool to see that development in the next chapter, hopefully. But just what we got for this one and kind of what's going on, I would have liked to see more of an Odin versus Kaido fight instead of just being a one chapter whole. But again, all three of these are great. But that's my chapters for this week: is Doctor Stone, My Hero Academia, and One Piece. So, yeah, leave a comment down below of what you guys feel about your manga chapters for the week. Let me know what you thought of this segment in this video. And also, please, I would greatly appreciate any mangas you would like to see me probably talk about and review. I'm trying to go more in depth. I just got done with a reaction series with my friend Captain KG on his YouTube channel. We just finished the volume 7 of Ruby. And that was my first time doing a reaction series, and that was really fun. And I've improved on what I want to say from when I was younger. But obviously there's room for improvement all the time because as human beings we can modify to anything. So, but thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a blessed Monday, and I will see you next time when we just read into the fray. Peace out.